Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. What's happening, plebs? We're out here with another episode of the History of the Yu-Gi-Oh Player, and today we're joined by Erik Christensen of Pro Play Games. And this series is going to be highlighting just pretty much the full story and biographies or general outlook for everyone who's following the meta and being able to look up to these great players and just learn a little bit about them and see where they're from and things like that. So today we've got Erik Christensen here, and yeah, man, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I just had a long day out, so now I'm home and this should be fun.
Awesome, awesome. So let's just jump straight into it then. So tell us where you're from and how you got into this game.
Well, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I've been playing, I feel like everyone has, since the game came out. I got the Yugi and Kaiba structure decks when I was little for Christmas, and I just kind of played on and off with my friends at the time when I was little and my brother over the years. And we would just play back and forth. And I remember I used to do karate, and I went in one day, and I was around 13 or so, and there were kids playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm like, oh, I used to play that, and they had all these white cards, and I was like, oh, what are those? I've never seen those. So I learned those were synchros, and I made my mom take me to Target, and I got like new stuff. But I still wasn't even playing around then. That was just like my introduction to synchros. But
Did you keep
around
going
like
after that? Was that
no,
was
no, no,
always
no. I got it basically. I had little like month long times when my brother and I would be really back into it, and we would like spend our money and go to Target and get Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and then we put them away for another 2 years, never to be touched. So uh, around my senior year, I was really into school my senior. Like I had a bunch of AP classes and such, and my friend showed me Dueling Network, and I thought, oh, that's super cool. You can play Yu-Gi-Oh online, and without leaving your house, you can play against people. Because that was always the problem. I was uh, I could never play with anyone because no one ever wanted to play. Really, that was the deciding factor. But he showed me that, and he showed me his Lightsworn deck that he built, and I thought that was super cool. And how they got all these effects when they went to the graveyard, I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Do you
And we
know around
played.
what year this was?
It was, I think, right before the Dragon Ruler format, so it would have been whatever set was right before Tachyon Galaxy.
So around this time, you'd still never properly been to a locals or like a
I
big.
had I think in fifth grade I had like a deck and I played, and I remember I didn't know what it was at the time, but now I know. I lost to the deck that played Magical Scientist and Catapult Turtle and all that.
Oh
And
right, yeah.
he would summon out the three things and launch them at me, and I'm like, you can't do that. So I remember that, and I think there was one time when I was that little and I topped the locals, and I got like 4 packs, and it was like the happiest day of my life. So
What did you get?
I have no clue,
Oh,
but they were old. That was probably Metal Raiders, something like that. Along those, I don't really know when all this stuff came out, but maybe along those lines.
awesome.
But throughout the years, I picked up just packs here and there. And I remember like at a gas station, I saw one, and I asked my dad to get me it, and I pulled like I think it was Flare Wingman if he came Ultra. It was one of the Ultra heroes, and that was great. So yeah, but then my senior year, I started getting back into it, and that's when I learned how to play, like learn the rest of the mechanics.
And that was around about the start of Dragon Ruler format.
Yeah, maybe a month or two before, because I remember, uh, like for a month or two, I was kind of still like iffy if I wanted to do it or not. And then I got an eBay account and I bought a bunch of boxes of Lore of the Tachyon Galaxy.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, um, but I was playing Dark Worlds at the time, and my friend and I went to our locals that's around here, and it was my first time there. He had been a few times, and I brought in my Dark World deck, and the only Dark World I had in my deck was Zur, the vanilla guy. So it wasn't really a Dark World deck; it was more like a dark deck. And
Of course.
a lot of the people there, they helped me out. They gave me like they're like, "Oh, where's your Graphas and Snows?" And I'm like, what are those? I didn't even know what they were. So yeah, they helped me out. They gave me like tips on how to improve it all. I got sleeves and stuff. So that, I think that's the earliest I remember. And I kind of I stayed there for a few months. I like went on the weekends when I could, and that was it. I never topped. I never did anything for about like 4 or 5 months.
And you were like,
And then,
so at that point you were like playing, I guess, kind of competitively, I suppose. Like you were coming up to locals, like.
well, yeah, I would go every week. But I used to stay after school with my friend Michael State, who had already been playing for a few years, and he showed me like certain cards that would help me out, like Eradicator, and that was when it was at 3 then. So I was like, oh, this card's awesome. It like takes away my opponent's stuff. But again, I kind of started in like the worst format I feel for a beginner to start in, the Dragon Rulers.
Of course.
Like all these people are pulling out these mats. They have like Naruto tokens to flip over for like Earth, Water, Fire. I'm like, what is all this? So I was very taken aback by stuff like that. I didn't realize people spent like that much amount of money on cards.
So how did you feel at that stage? Was that like kind of deterrent for you? Were you just like, well, fuck this, like I don't want to play against this shit, or did it just keep you?
I mean, it kind of like motivated me because there was I kept with my Dark World deck for like 8 months, and I would just bring it through thick and thin and just play whoever. And there were a few games where I beat the Dragon Ruler people, and that like it proved that even if you don't have the best stuff, you can still win as long as you're like playing better than your opponent. And then I moved down for school to FIU, which is in Miami. So I moved down there, and I went to the locals down there, and that's where I met like the friends I have like today in Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically, like Travis and all that. And I was still playing Dark Worlds there, and that was the Gear format, I believe, like the Mermail Fire Fist one. And I would still get destroyed, but I kind of knew how to just mess with my opponents, I guess, by then, and it helped. I won my first locals after like 8 or 9 months there. So it took a while, but then I got it. And after I think the Infernity deck got popular, I really liked that. Like just being able to sit at home and practice on your own was something I really liked. So that deck was good for it.
Yeah, it's a good deck for the game where you just play by yourself.
I liked it. I liked that you could sit in your room for 10 minutes and practice something, because you can't really do that with other decks. You have to like wait for your opponent to have a response. So that deck was how I liked. I just sat there for like an hour a day or something and played. And I technically topped a regional with that. That's how I got my invite for last year's Nats, even though I don't consider that like a regional top.
So last year was your first top, did you say?
My first, it was a regional top. Like I got 31st or something like that with Infernity, and that's what this Nats that I just won wasn't my first one. It was my second one. So
you came 33rd at last year's Nats?
No. I got at regionals. I got like 31st to get my invite.
To get your invite. Okay, right. So before you had this invite, did you attend any other national regionals and stuff before then?
Yeah, I think I went to one with Dark Worlds, and I think I went 6-3, and I was like, okay, that's pretty solid for my first one. And then I think that was the second one I went to. I'm not 100% sure.
And that just give you like motivation to keep trying to improve.
Yeah. I was happy, and I'm like, okay, because I got that early on. It was like the September regionals. It was right before the deck got hit, like after Worlds.
Yeah.
So I played it like at the last event you could before that, like with Shadalls and all that. And after that, you have like basically the whole year to say, oh, I'm going to get ready for nationals. So I think from there I moved on to Shadalls, and I really liked that deck a lot because I kept looking like that was when I was into Dueling Network, and I would look at like the OCG stuff and see what's coming out so you can get prepared. And I was really excited for Shadalls because they were like dominating over there, and I was finally going to play a meta deck. So on the day of release, I get there and I'm getting all the stuff for the deck, and people are like trying to pick up these things called Dantes, and I'm like, what are those? And I read it, and I'm like, level 3. I don't think that's gonna do much. And I like put it down and went about my day. And now it's my most hated deck of all time.
2 years later.
Yeah, seriously.
So,
But
how are you doing on
hmm?
Dueling Network about this point? Because I mean, you were like playing on DN and like trying to like use it as like preparation and for like making cards and
Hmm.
stuff. Were you like continuously grinding and stuff, like going up the ladder?
Yeah, yeah. I think the highest I made it to 9 one of the seasons, I guess you'd call them.
I mean, that's pretty
And I
good.
was
Yeah,
pretty happy.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was a fiend for DN. So, um, but yeah, I played that probably a few hours each day at one point, and it was all right. I mean, I don't think that's like a needed thing to get better at the game. Like I have a one friend, his name's Geo, who he's been playing in the past year or so, and he's super good, like faster than I improved at the game. And he hasn't played DN like once,
Hmm.
so I don't think that's like it's nice to have because you get to like have the whole database in front of you, but it's not needed.
Do you really think so? Because I've always suggested, that I think like DN when it was like being used by everyone is a fantastic way to practice because you're getting.
Oh no, no, no! It is, but I don't think it's like needed. Like in order to be a good player, I think it's a tremendous help, but I don't think it's like life or death. Like
Yeah,
people that are starting now aren't. I don't think they're at a disadvantage just because they don't have it.
yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So what
Hmm.
was like your first like kind of not major success, but like first kind of like I guess you could say like I mean even like topping a regional was like pretty big for a lot of people and stuff. But like, what was the first like competitive like event or thing that like happened to you that you thought like, oh shit, like I love this, like this is great, like I wanna keep playing, I wanna keep pushing, I wanna
Uh,
like be the very best and stuff like that.
yeah. There were a few. I think the rankings I do would be like locals, then like a bigger locals, and then like maybe like a prize card or like an Xbox tournament, something along those lines. And there was one of those when I was still playing, like still, I think it was right after I moved down to Miami. There was a big giant card, the giant hand tournament,
Hmm.
and I made it in the top 8. And that was when they were playing the like the Mythic rulers,
Yeah.
and I was still playing Dark World at the time, and I made it in the top 8, and I should have won my top 8, but I misplayed on something, and I could have just like went on and I had a good matchup for everything in the tournament, but I lost my own thing, and that like inspired me to, I guess, get better and work to not misplay anymore. That's what I use like even today to uh, like gauge if I had a good tournament or not, whether or not I misplayed at all in the entire event.
Hmm. Did you ever
Uh,
at any point think that you'd be like where you are now, like, oh, this is I'm a world like finalist, that's huge. Did you ever think you'd ever reach that point?
I think early on I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, but like not seriously. I just said it like to my friends, like, yeah, one day I'll be there, and now I am. But for the longest time, I always said if I ever went to Worlds, just went to Worlds, I would not, I guess, just not really play as much as I would. Like I'd move on, I guess.
Yeah.
And when they announced that it was in Orlando, I was gonna go regardless because it's just 3 hours from my house, and I was like, oh, I guess that's a sign that this is pretty much the last year.
Mm.
But I don't know. I did well, and at Worlds I did well. So I don't know. I'm conflicted about stopping, but I'm in my last year of college, and I want to just finish up strong.
Hmm.
Uh, and I don't know. It's not. It's hard to fly to a lot of events. I don't have like a lot of money to do all that.
Yeah.
Luckily, I get to go to the UDS this weekend.
Hmm.
My sponsor is paying for all that, so I got super lucky on that.
That's pretty
Um,
cool.
but I feel like that's kind of the reason I don't really, I guess maybe not at this point, not have as many tops as other people because I don't really get to go to events.
Hmm.
I've only been to the YCS Dallas, YCS Atlanta, Nats 2015 and 2016, and then Worlds, and that's it. So
That YCS you won with Inferno, that was the very first time that you topped, was it?
yeah,
I mean, other
no,
than
it was
Nats,
nice.
second top.
Uh, in at the beginning of 2015, there was an ARG in Orlando that I went to, and I got top 8 at that with Clifford.
Mhm.
So that was my very first one. But that was a while ago. I think looking back, I looked at my own deck and I was like, why was I playing that? Why was I playing this? So I think if I were to go today to that event, I think I could have gone even farther.
Yeah.
But I was still relatively new at that point. I think I'd only been playing about a year and a half.
Mhm.
So, but there are people. My friend Gio, he's been playing since he started about then, like 2015 January, until now, and he's feared at all of our locals, and I don't want to play him ever. He's just one of the, but he's in the same like spot I was. He doesn't really travel to the tournaments, so I feel like if he did, he'd also do well.
Yeah.
But that's the only person I can really compare it to, even though he's not well known.
How did you feel after Dallas though? Like you basically what format even was that? I mean, that was like when Monarchs were
like
at their prime and stuff, or was it before that?
No, no, no. It was before Monarchs. It was like right. It was right before the set with Dark Destroyer came out, the Dimension of Chaos. So
Wow.
Cosmos weren't like as powerful, and it was right before the ban list for Necros and Burning Abyss. So they were still at full power as well. And that was pretty much the format. It was just BA and Necros. That's what I expected to play going in, with a few Shadals splashed here and there, but essentially just those two.
And you managed to just take the whole event with Infernoids of all things. Like how did you like prepare for the event and stuff? I mean, I don't have your deck list up just now, but like Infernoids of all things, like well, why did you even choose that? Never mind, like consider it.
When the Infernoids first started coming out, I think it was like in the January of that year, and they came out in like Secrets of Eternity. And at the time, I was still playing Clifford, and they had just got Monolith and everything. So I thought that deck was ridiculous. They had Skill Drain, Vanity, all that.
Mm.
But then my friend started picking them up around then, and I looked at them, and we built the deck. It had like all the Raidens, Lilas, Luminas, all that, and I played at locals, and I went 0-3, and I'm like, this deck sucks. And I put it down and didn't touch it again for like 4 or 5 months, and then I think it was right around the ARG championship, like in the summertime. I think whenever it was, right, either before Nats or after. I was like, oh, this deck is really, really good, especially with the little level 1 guy coming out, because you can normal summon him, and you don't have to play any of the. A lot of people were playing that dog thing. It like shuffles itself back into the deck or something.
Yeah, Maron.
Yeah. And I thought that was so bad. I was like, why would anyone play that for just to not deck out? That's a bad deck. And then when the lower level 1 guy came out, since he could become literally, he can solve any problem, like kill a spell or trap, kill a monster, stop a spell or trap, stop a monster. I realized at that point that card was ridiculously overpowered, and I started taking the deck to locals even before he came out to like fine tune the ratios on certain stuff. And when he came out, I think he came out a week before the ARG championship, and I really wanted to take that deck to there, and I was for the longest time. And then my friend loaned me his entire Clyde deck, because that was when Chicken Game came out, and they had Towers Turbo. So I played Towers Turbo, and I got beat by a Fire King twice.
What the fuck, Fire King?
Twice. Like I played him in the 1K the first day, and I lost to him, and then the main event I lost to him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so not my best decision on that. But then after that, I decided I'm just going to stick with my deck, because it's what I learned, and it's what I was practicing. Because that was it wasn't on the scale of Infernities, but you could like see where your hands were going. You could activate Reasoning, mill out your deck, and then see where to play from there to make Omegas and stuff.
Yeah.
But I also don't think people realize what Omega was then. I didn't really know until a few weeks before Dallas as well. And I flew in on a Friday, and Thursday I went to my card shop to get the high speed riders or whatever, and he didn't open any, and I was begging the guy that runs the store to open it just so I could get that one card. And he opened it, and I bought it, and I went and I won.
Well,
So, yeah. But I played it at like there were like some of the other big tournaments. Like there was a PS4 tournament that I played it at, and
Before
I
the
realized that
YCS.
yeah, it was like
Okay.
1 or 2 weeks before, and I realized the only deck it really lost to was Clyfort. So as long as you sided for that, you should have been good. And that's what I did, and I got lucky. I didn't play any at the YCS, so I think that was luck was on my side on that stance.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive. I
yeah.
mean, like, how did you like? Obviously, did you actually think you would like go that far? I mean, you obviously did have a lot of practice and stuff. I mean, did you think the deck was capable of just going all the way?
Uh, I thought the deck was good, but I would still lose to like Necros and BA occasionally, which is why I didn't think it was like perfect by any means. How like Infernity was, like where if you had that board, there's no deck that can really break that.
Mm.
Um, but I felt it was still pretty strong. Omega like basically cancels out the ritual mechanic on its own. So as long as you can get him on the board, you should be good. Um, but I think I didn't. I don't think I was gonna go that far, especially since it was my first event like that, like a big scale. I had never been to a big Konami event like that. Really, I went to nationals and I couldn't. I was like astounded the entire time I was there by how many people there were.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
So was the next big event you went to nationals?
No. I went to nationals. Was the 2015 nationals was the first one I went to, and I was playing like the stick chair Shaddolls.
Oh no, I mean
And
after Dallas. Like, did you?
no, I went to Atlanta in February.
I'm getting these years mixed up really badly.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. In October was Dallas, and then in February was the next event I went to, which was Atlanta.
Atlanta.
And
Right.
it was
Okay.
the Pepe format,
Right.
like the broken Pepe,
What did you play there?
the broken Pepe. But all my friends, we had found that like plush fire just wasn't like super good, so we were playing the deck without plush fire and all that. We were just playing like the pure perform pals.
Yeah, I think I noticed
And
that. Did you play the darks as well or something? Or
no, I lost to one of the dark decks, but it was I can't remember I think he ripped like something he needed exactly like a Regeki or a spell from Summoner Monk or something off the top, and
mm,
I was like, this is ridiculous. But we were playing the Aradney build, and just it was so dumb. We made like me, Travis, and 3 or 4 of our other friends all made the same deck, minus like 1 or 2 cards, and all of us except for one, I believe, made it to day two. And I lost in round 11 because game 3 I opened double Maxi, double Veiler.
oh,
So not much you can do on that part.
yeah.
But my friend Travis, my friend Patrick, and my other friend Fidela, they all topped playing the deck.
Mm,
So I think that hands down I'd still pick that going back even today.
yeah. So fast forward to nationals of this year. How was that like feeling when you made the preparation and stuff, and when you were choosing your decks and that? Like, what was like the prelude like?
Well, for a long time, I played Monarchs when they first came out, and I thought they were super good. And they when they first came out, they were talked about, but they weren't played to the extent they were like around nationals time.
I mean,
'Cause
that's
they
when everyone
brilliant.
were playing like EDM and stuff, like really like.
Yeah. Well, the brilliant like Monarchs weren't really they weren't out like right as the deck came out. That kind of got found out like about a month or so in,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I believe. So they no one was really playing Monarchs. Like I played only one at Atlanta, and it was a blowout. Like that deck was just light years ahead of Monarchs at the time.
Hmm.
And for about two months, I played Monarchs after that, and
Just
I
regular
really liked
ones.
it. Yeah, just domain like locals and stuff like that, and I really liked it. But then I got like on this big losing streak for about 2 months, and I didn't want to play it for nationals. And I was joking with my friend. There was like the Ignite OTK.
Lace
You had to
Phoenix.
just like open. Yeah, that one.
Hmm.
And I was joking with my friend like 2 weeks before nationals. I think I'm just gonna play this for that and see how I do. Since I was getting a free trip, so I wasn't like super motivated to like do well or anything because it was all free.
Yeah.
But I chose against that, and I went with Domain because it was pretty much the only deck that I I felt was a blowout against Burning Abyss because I hate them because they basically ruined like the Shadal format for me essentially because everyone started switching to them when I wanted to like I thought the mirror match for Shadal's was really fun and since no one was ever playing it because of Burning Abyss, I felt they've ruined a lot of things for me that deck. So all the decks I try to play are just to beat Burning Abyss, like Infernoid and Domain.
So
that was.
So you kind of just like took Domain to nationals, like just on a like kind of whim, like oh okay whatever, like might as well just.
It was like out of spite almost.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was like the most bog standard list ever, and you know, you ended up taking the whole thing. Like, was it surprising that you won with such a a deck that had pretty much just been around since the beginning? Like that's actually like pretty much like one of the first iterations of the deck was just the standard Domain build. And why do you think you did so well?
I don't think I was like surprised by it because it's if you just open good every game you're gonna win. It's like type of deck. But I don't think I should have topped actually. I was 9-3. And I had lost round 4, round 9, and round 12. And I was just like, oh, the X3 usually don't top, especially there were a bunch like X2s at the event. And I made it into like 59th or 60th place, I believe. I was like, all right, so they gave me a chance.
Yeah.
And I think I was one like spot off from playing Tommy Rowe in like top 64 instead of the finals.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny, and I thought I was gonna have to play him at first because he was doing really well that day. But I think I was just prepared for a lot of things. I was playing Scolding. I thought that card was really good for that event, just to stop Pendulum Summons or stop the Monarch Summon or stop the Dante Summon. And that won me infinite games, I believe, that event. And I didn't really get to use Ref Panel. I thought that was the other really broken card, the Mirror. But I played Domain Mirrors, but I never like had Ref Panel in my hand. I think I only had it for 1 or 2 games. And it was really easy. I felt like Top Cut was easy at that event, a little more so than like the main event, because there weren't there were only 2 BA Monarch in the Top Cut, and I played both of them back to back, and all my friends thought that deck was super free, and it was honestly. I played one of them on live stream, and I misplayed. But he misplayed back, and I was able to save myself off of it, even though it wasn't like it wasn't game 3 or anything. I just got lucky off that. But yeah, I think I got lucky a little bit in the Top Cut. There was only one that I was really stressed out about playing, and it was like top 8. I was playing against Burning Abyss, of course, and he made like a Dante with a Sir and a Fiendish Rhino. And I scolded it because I didn't think he could make another one, even if he could use the effect of the Rhino, and he couldn't. And I got lucky and won that. And I was like, all right, I'm going to Worlds.
Do you think that match is like, is it that Worlds bubble match? Do you think that's like worse than like playing the final? Like just like the stress?
I think that was the most nerve-wracking one, hands down, of the whole event. Especially because like, in game 3, he's making a Dante with like the best attachments you can think of. I'm paying 3,000 life points for him to basically do it again and then kill me that turn.
Yeah.
So it was a big risk, and I got lucky on it.
Wow. Because so many people I talk to, like they just say like they win like a nationals and stuff or Euros, but like when they get to like that World's bubble match, it's the fucking worst thing ever. Like just so much stress and stuff.
I would agree with that one more than anything. That was a rough match, and the one right before that in top 16, I think we only stayed in game 1, and it got down to where we were in life points. I was ahead by 28 or 29, something like that, and it was the Monarch Mirror, and I had thought he went through all his primes and that he had no way to get them back, but he was like playing a third of the little black guy, the Eidos, and he was able to get back a prime, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to deck me out. And they called time, and it perfectly came down to where I would draw my last card, and I had the last turn in time, and even if he could punch me with a Monarch, I was like ahead by like 100,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like everything fell into place perfectly that game. So that one was nerve wracking too. But top 4 and top 2 weren't that bad. I did well there. I wasn't stressed at that point because I was like, all right, I've already done what I wanted to do.
Yeah. It's like everything else after that's just like extra, you know?
Yeah, it's just a bigger trophy essentially.
Bigger trophy.
Yeah.
So after the event is when you got sponsored by PPG, right? Or was it before?
No, I was Machado was he went to my school down in Miami, and he played at like the card shop. He used to just be like a little like vendor here and there for us, like playing at different card stores in the South Florida area. And when he graduated, which I think was in like May of 2015, he opened up a store in West Palm, and we all liked his page on Facebook and stuff. And at regionals, he gave us like all his shirts, and we just all wore them. And that's essentially how he started. There was no like I wasn't contacted by anyone. He was my friend. I wore his shirt, and that was it.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
He's like always kind of knew each other and stuff. Were you ever involved in, I guess, or you'd call it like the organizing of the team or the maintenance of the team?
No, it was more so. It kind of got solidified after I won Dallas. Like that was when he started like saying, "Oh, here's all the best players from Florida that we have," and he put them all like on the same team. And then we had like a little B team for a while for like other people that were good, but like not on that level of some of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of progressed over time. Cause some of my friends who were on the team, they don't really play that much anymore. They graduated or they moved on to like other games and stuff like that. So they were dropped, and then he started adding like Chris LeBlanc and Ben Leverett and all that.
Yeah. How did you feel when that all started going down? I mean, we don't want to go into like too much drama or anything.
Yeah.
There was a lot of card guys moving over, migrating to the PPG.
We were because I had already met them. I went over to my friend Josh's house, one of the head judges here in the U.S. Well, I think he's soon to be. And I was staying over at his house after Dallas, like in December time, for an event. And Hoban and Desmond and Chris LeBlanc were all down there, and that's when I first met all of them and just became friends. And then after that, like around Atlanta time, I think it was a little after Atlanta, they were still on the card guys then, and that's when they started all like hopping over. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't. We just thought it was all funny, like my group chat that I have of all my friends down here. But it was never like a big deal or anything. We always saw Machado as someone very ambitious, so we could believe it.
Yeah. So it wasn't like too much of a big deal for you, I guess. It was just kind of.
No, it was cool because now I was like on the same team as all these big name players. Yeah. But one of the things throughout my like Yu-Gi-Oh career, I guess, that I was never big into like looking up people, I guess. Mm-hmm. So people would say these names. I'm like, who's that? And they're like, are you serious? Like, I think for a few months I didn't know who Hoban was. Like,
oh my God.
I didn't know. Yeah, like they were naming these people, and I met Chris LeBlanc, and I think I said, "Who are you?" and like they were just make jokes about like Angeli. I guess he normaled that twice in the tournament or something. I don't know. I was like, ha ha ha, super funny. So that's fantastic. Yeah, a lot of people, they were like, "Oh, do you go on Duelist Grounds?" I'm like, "What is that?" Like, even to this day, I don't really know what that is. All I know is like a little forum about Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Basically.
But, that was never my thing. I guess that was, in a way, good, because it made me... I was never like looking up to anyone. I was trying to be the one looked up to instead.
So when you were, grinding it out on DN and stuff and trying to get your like first big top and stuff like that, did you never have any kind of big players that you just thought were like, oh man, like he's so good, like I love the way he plays, I like his decks and stuff, did you never like fanboy over anyone?
I think I guess I didn't realize that DN was not like related to real life. So anyone who was like in the top 10 of DN I thought was like in the top 10 of Yu-Gi-Oh. So I remember the name on DN was ARG Doomcow, and I learned that was Cody Angeloff.
Yeah.
And at Dallas, I played him, and on the back of his jersey said ARG Doomcow. I'm like, oh my god, that's you! Blah, blah. And I didn't realize like who it was and all that. So now I learned, and I understand who's like not good, but just like has more tops than other people in the game.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think tops equals good,
Yeah.
especially even if you have multiple. So I don't know. Maybe I think differently on that than people. But
As a side note,
yeah,
someone's
so
asking what your DN name was.
Zing, Zingg.
Zing. Okay. Who else did you look up to?
Um,
Because I'm pretty sure I knew quite a few DN people. Just out of curiosity, like who were the big names that you really liked on DN?
on I think it was ARG Doom. So it was mostly like since I didn't really keep track of like the pro players and like all their names and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought my friends who I played with here in Miami were super good because they would destroy me like on a regular basis. And
Yeah.
I go out to these events and I do fine. I'm like, I still put them above like the people I've been playing.
But what about on DN?
So,
Like just the people, different
yeah.
usernames you'd see there.
One of my friends, his name was Esky Blaze on DN. He used to play for years and he was always in at least top 100 for each like season. There was, oh man, throw some out there. I don't even remember any off the top of my head, and I'll tell you if I recognize those.
Jerry can't be free. Jerry 90 obviously. ARG Doomcow, we've already got that. There was Red Gamer, Flaming Ice, Wind Up 44.
Flaming Ice. I think I remember watching a few of his games.
Oh, nice.
Who was that one?
I don't actually know what their real names are. I just know their usernames.
Yeah. I remember seeing that one a few times.
Masic 333.
Oh, did a lot of the big ones turn into admins on DN?
I'm not sure. I mean, there was a lot of.
I remember seeing a few. Like there was one that always stuck out. Maybe because it was an A name, Arabs and Scarabs.
I don't know who that is.
That one. So that was a name that always stuck out. I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, there was 902. That was Omar Dowdy. I know that. He was an admin in there as well.
So yeah, there were just a few people that I noticed, but I never associated them with their real life like names or anything because no one ever puts that. So,
I mean, that's pretty cool, man. You're not fanning over anyone. You're just like, I'm just gonna be the best, and then people fanboy over me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair
so
enough.
that's what I wanted it to be. I guess I learned from my friends like just how to get better. I didn't have to watch deck profiles and stuff. I guess to learn like what the pros are doing. That's why I never really learned how to. My friend was asking me the other night. He's like, "How do you side deck?" And I'm like, "I don't think I do it right," because I never asked anyone like how you're supposed to do it. They just said side these. So for the longest time, I thought they played upstart so that you could side it out like it's a free side deck slot. And then people were like, "No, you use upstart to draw into your side." I'm like, that's even harder then. So I remember at nationals, I was siding out some weird stuff. Like I would side out like one return, like one domain, like just like things that if you're going first, you need all those because you might need to get that specific one off pantheism in like any scenario.
Yeah.
But going second, I would just side those out because I'm like, I don't want to see two of these in my hand or all that. Because as long as you get one, you should be good going second. But yeah, I've always sided out weird things, and people always ask me, why do you side that out? And I just shrug my shoulders.
Fair enough. So yeah, staying on the topic of PPG, like how have they helped you? Like, you have so many fucking good names, like just all like in this one team. Like, I mean, you must have like some huge influences like in your deck building and like just your knowledge of the game.
Yeah, it's been better now that they've like established a team more. We have like a group chat on Facebook where everyone's in, and we just are basically just making fun of each other essentially the whole time. But occasionally we'll talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! And how to make decks better and all that. But I think for the most part, at least in that chat, everyone kind of understands how to do it. So there's no real like super big questions that have to be asked. It's just like, do you guys think this this card is good.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really have to do it for everything out there. Like, oh, should you play Anti-Spam and Blue Eyes? We all kind of like agree, yeah, that's a stupid card.
Yeah.
But like people were asking, the newest one was like Lullaby of Obedience for Blue Eyes, and I think that it's good in the mirror, but I don't think I don't think it should be mained or anything like that. It just seems really awkward, I guess. But yeah, there's no real like we're not sending deck lists to each other and stuff like that because even though we're on the same team, we all still want to be first place. So I guess that's kind of our mentality on it.
Really? Like you guys don't even say like, oh, okay, let's play this list for this event and stuff. Like you guys are like still competing against each other?
Yeah, essentially. Since we're all not like living in the same area, we all like we'll ask for like oh, do you guys want to go on and test on Dev Pro or anything? But we're not like, oh, I think we should both play the same, like all 11 of us or whatever play the same list at an event.
Do you not think that's kind of
because we all?
Do you not think that's like kind of productive to like the actual concept of having a team?
I mean, I think after playing like that, I know I don't play in the same style that some of the other players play. So if we all played the same deck, I feel like some of us would be like left out because it doesn't fit like our style of play. Like I think if you asked like 10 of the people on my team, they would all play Burning Abyss, and I refuse to touch that deck ever. So you just have to. I think it's just better to get your own idea since we're all like established and we know what we're doing, and then just test it and see what doesn't work. Like I basically play with Travis the most because he's just we live close to each other. We go to the same locals and stuff.
Yeah.
And whenever we play, we're like, okay, this card's bad, this card's good, and we fine tune the deck from there. And I think that's how we do good. Like we played the same list for Worlds, but that was like like a agreement because we both wanted to make sure that the US won.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, we all play the deck. We play the same, like I'd say, like meta decks, like BA or Monarchs, but we don't all agree on some of the side deck cards, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people think certain things are good, and me just playing through. There were certain things that I just didn't think were needed in a deck. But, of course, when you get to a big tournament like that, in theory, they're not good, and then you play against it, and you're like, okay, well, this just destroyed me, and I didn't draw my out to it. So, like, we didn't play Kawaki Maradrago for Worlds, because we thought, like, people would just be playing, like, Book of Eclipse or Dark Hole, like, just easy outs to it, and since Drago like limits you as well, they have a few turns to draw into their outs if you can't just establish a Blue Eyes along with it. So we played it. We look at all the side, at least what Travis and I do. We look at all the things that we could side, then we pick our side, and then we figure out how we can side to beat as if we were playing against ourselves.
Yeah.
So
did your deck play Brilliant Fusion for Worlds?
I did not. We debated it, and he wasn't really even playing Blue Eyes before the event. He was pretty dead set on and even when we were driving up, he was in the car like saying how he wants to get German like Burning Abyss cards, so he has a pretty deck for Worlds. And I was playing Blue Eyes, and then I went to Universal for the day, and I came back, and he's like, all right, I'm going to play Blue Eyes with you. So he just basically took my deck and we tweaked a few things, like the side and the extra, and that was it. We didn't play the exact same list because we couldn't find all the cards actually in time. So I played Gigantic Castle while he played Alsay, and we both agreed Alsay wasn't like super. Everyone kept saying it was staple, and I just didn't agree with that because it doesn't. It just sits there. It's not protected by your gospel and all that. So I just didn't like it. I took it out, and Gigantic Castle won me a game. So.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how did Tommy do at Worlds?
I believe he got 12th. So not bad. I think even if you like, I know Bowden and Joaquin, they both they did like poorly at first, and at that point, like if you go 0-2, there's not much point playing. They just make you play all the Swiss rounds regardless of your record. So I think Tommy was good until about round 4, and then he lost again. He's like, nah, I don't think I can make it. So he was excited. He stayed. He got to the hotel, I think, a few hours after us, and just was down in the lobby practicing with us. And there were 2 things you got to choose. Like the Konami gave options to us on Friday, which was to either go to Universal for the day or go to like the local card shop. And I went with my girlfriend up to Orlando, so we didn't really want to go to a card shop all day. So we went to Universal and just hung out there at Harry Potter World and stuff. But Tommy, Travis, and Masu, they all went to the card shop to get ready. I just felt I'd been playing the deck for like 3 weeks, and I learned it inside and out. And I'm like, there's no point in stressing over it. If I don't know by now, I'm not going to win. So I went to Universal, had a good time, and I woke up the next day and I did good.
And you made the final, yeah.
Exactly.
These guys worked their asses off, and they get 12.
I just feel like I was putting in all the time at work. I had like an app on my phone that lets you test hands. Mm-hmm. So I would just type in my deck and draw a test hand. I'm like, okay, I know what this is going to end with. I basically, now that I have this, I didn't have this for a while. I got it like a month or 2 ago, and I want to get to the point in the deck where I can look at that opening 5 cards, tell you what it ends with, and then restart without having to put any cards on the table.
Yeah.
So that's what I do to get ready now.
What's that app called, by the way? Because I've seen it a few times.
It's called Yugipedia, I believe.
Yugipedia, okay.
Yeah, and it's basically like they have like that Yu-Gi-Oh card prices app.
Yeah.
It's essentially like that, where you can type in a card and it'll pop up. And it has the effect that you can read, and you can add it to decks and put it in your side, main, or extra. It's really, really neat. So, but yeah, that's what I use now. I have, and you can have like multiple decks on it. So I just build, like, people will send me a deck list. So I'm like, okay, I'll look at that. And then I look at it and make a little deck, and I'm like, all right, it draws good or it draws bad. And I think I've been playing Trains for the past like few weeks. And I really like that deck. I think it's really good, but I don't know what to do to make it competitive yet. It's still like because you can just play around Shaddoll Fusion. That was the whole problem with Shaddolls.
I mean, so, that rank 10 is pretty busted. So
it is, but that's the whole thing. People are now maining kaijus, and I'm like, seriously?
Yeah,
you can't catch a break sometimes with decks. I've been wanting to play it since they announced them, like in 2014 or whatever. So before the Zodiac match, I went to Google and I typed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Train Deck 2014 to look at all the old deck lists. And I saw Compulsory Escape Device, and I was like, oh, this card's broken. And I put it in, and I didn't really get it to resolve the way I wanted to in the match, but it worked. It does its job.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I liked it. So you find little things like that as long as you keep your eyes peeled.
Well, awesome. This is going to be nearing the end stream. So if you guys want to fire out some questions for Erik, we'll do a quick Q&A. Nice and short. Just get through as many as possible. I got a few basic ones that I just asked like everyone who comes on. So first of all, where do you go from here? Like, are you gonna quit anytime soon? You did touch on it earlier, but what's your long-term plans or short-term?
Well, for now, I'm going to the UDS this weekend, and then I don't think I'm doing anything till November at the earliest, which would be there's like an ARG in Atlanta or something. And then I kind of just for this year just want to chill out. I just want to finish up my last year of school, so I'm good to go with that. There's no problems. And then I have a trip to nationals next year, so those are my only 2 events that I have scheduled pretty much for now.
What is your all-time favorite deck and your all-time favorite format?
I really like Dark Worlds a lot. I don't know if I put them as my favorite, but they're up there. I think that and Infernoids. I think Infernoids was the funnest deck I played in a competitive scene.
Do you think that's just like kind of sentimental thing? Like, oh, it's Dark World's my first deck, and Infernoids was my first deck I did really well with. Yeah,
I didn't feel a connection like I did with those, like with Blue Eyes or Domain. I just played those because I was like, all right, I think I can win with these. But Infernoid, no one else was playing it. It was like a unique deck, and I was able to win with it. So I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
And then Dark World, I beat the meta decks with a non-meta deck, and that's what I guess sparked my interest in Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost.
The casuals champion right here, guys.
Exactly. And then for format, I really like the Broken Pepe format. I actually was really upset when it was only like 3 weeks long or whatever.
Yeah.
I was prepared to play that deck until Nationals.
There's a lot of people were complaining about that deck, because it's so unfair and stuff. But I mean, a lot of people enjoyed the mirror match because I mean, you can both like do pretty unfair things.
Mm-hmm. I liked it simply because everyone was playing Plush Fire, and we thought like our deck was so much better than the Plush Fire variant, and that's why we wanted to play it because we thought we'd do well at all the events.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my questions. Let's see what we've got here. What was your favorite part of Nationals?
I think this one was just seeing a lot of people I hadn't seen since either last Nationals or Dallas and stuff. I met friends at the first Nationals that I like played inside events and stuff that I talked to on Facebook for a while, and I saw them at Nationals, and I got to catch up, and that was nice. And I met the head of the team jobber, Jesse, and he was super, super nice. And I just talked to him today, actually. He's a great guy. So I really like him. And yeah, it was just, I stayed in the hotel room with all my friends. What more can you ask for a weekend? So.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see, where are we at? Guys, most of your questions suck, just saying. How much do you play test for a big event?
I think I pretty much do it just to learn a deck, like how I do on the app. But after I learn it on the thing, I'll play test it on Dev Pro against some friends and at locals. I try to primarily get about a month in before deck, unless like I can't, like for Worlds or anything. But about a month I like to play test.
Besides Burning Abyss, what other decks do you hate?
Hat. That was the deck I hated back when I was playing Dark World because I couldn't afford Skullmeisters at the time. So I would just lose to that at every tournament, and it was so boring. And that was the first year I watched an event like on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Nationals was the most boring thing I've ever seen. So I was contemplating not playing at that point, but I persevered through it.
Did you play at all that format? It was Inferno, right?
Yeah. I think that was like, I didn't play Infernity until after Nationals.
Oh, okay.
So I think before that I was still playing Dark Worlds or maybe some like little like creative deck I came up with, but it was either Dark Worlds or Infernity.
What are your thoughts on S0? The Utopia thing.
Isn't it like a Shockmaster or something along those lines?
Yeah.
I don't know the exact effect.
You summon it by discarding a rank up spell. You can't solemn it, and during your opponent's standby, you can detach, and yeah, it's Shockmaster for everything.
For everything?
Yeah, they can't
activate cards?
Cards or effects, no.
Oh wow. Does it have 0/0?
It gets 1,000 attack for each material, so it can go up to 4k if you summon it with 2 level 4s, and then Utopia, and then Utopia Prime on top of that, and then Zexal, so that's 4k.
Jeez. Wow. Yeah, it seems pretty good, except for the part you have to play the rank up spell, but
yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty good. I think it's as the same. It's entering that same territory as the trains do, though. It'll lose to a kaiju, unless you can't special or something like that. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, if you kaiju it, you still can't activate anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be really good in a deck that has a follow-up play for the next turn.
I mean, chances are you're gonna be dead next turn because pendulums and stuff.
Yeah, more than likely. So I don't know. I just think the rank up part is what throws people off.
Yeah.
But I'm sure someone will break it. They break every card.
Yep. Are you mad that BA are still alive?
I'd say they're in the ICU. I don't know if I'd say they're alive, but I'm not worried about running into them anymore. I think they're still going to be played by a lot of people, but I don't think they're going to win as many events as they had been.
I think they're still pretty strong, to be honest.
They are, I guess. I don't know. You just have to play through the first Beatrice, and if your deck can't do that, then don't play that deck.
Mm.
Is if you get rid of that, I feel you're pretty good. But Kieran got hit. That was the biggest way to play through Beatrice. So
Yep.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out myself how to do it. But I'm sure I can figure it out in the next week.
What are your thoughts on floodgates?
I think some are necessary and some aren't. Like there's different mechanics that are more played than the others, like special summoning. So I think Vanity is an unfair card, but I think cards that you have a way to get around, like Skill Drain, for instance, since it doesn't technically have to be on the field, or that it only stops field effects. Those are better, but they're still not good overall. They're just annoying cards in general, and then they make cards like Demise that promotes that level of play,
Mm-hmm.
and just not that fun. So.
What do you think is the best deck right now, and what have you been testing?
I'd probably say Blue Eyes is still the best, even though probably people don't agree with me. But it's the one that I think is most consistent, even if people don't think so.
Mm.
I've been testing mostly the trains. I'm really trying to get them to work. I've gone through like Pure and Kaiju and Shadal and all that, but I don't know how long I'm gonna keep that one up. But I think Blue Eyes is very, very good. The Lullaby card is it helps in the mirror now if you decide to play it.
Yeah,
So
someone actually just
definitely
asked
be a
that. What
card.
do you think about Lullaby of Obedience?
I think in this format it's good for now, as long as you're playing it. I think you have to be smart when you play it and not either save it like for the first turn, depending what matchup you're playing, like if you choose to main it or not, or if you just choose to side it, I hope you draw it. I guess.
One final question. Since we got to wrap up, I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule. What are you going to college for?
I'm going for public administration. It's like local government.
I see.
Yeah, I work at the city. I'm a camp counselor in my over the summer and over like winter breaks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a kid at heart, essentially.
Someone wants you to donate your Shadal train list.
Okay, I'll put it on Zodiac in the next hour or so.
All right, awesome.
Okay.
All right, well that's everything. I'm still gonna be kicking about for stream, but this has been your episode 5 of History of the Yu-Gi-Oh Player. This was Erik Christensen from Pro Play Games. Make sure you check them out on Facebook and social media and such. And yeah, I'd like to thank Erik for joining me. This was pretty good.
Anytime. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, thanks to the stream for coming out. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and we shall be back next time.